This is Joe Pugh for IFLTV. Here he is, Gareth, mimicking me already at 8:37 on Tuesday morning. Just coming back from this bank holiday weekend. Gareth, how are you? How was your bank holiday?
It was good. I was paddling and cycling in Cambridge actually, and the bank holiday actually crept up on me. I didn't realise it was a bank holiday. I think till the Sunday evening. But what a beautiful, glorious time we've had with the weather before this storm comes down from the north. I understand. So I'm good. How are you doing, Joe?
I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. Start off, Gareth, with just a fight of the year contender just passed on Saturday. I know you was on TalkSport, you wasn't there, but Jack Rafferty and Mark Chamberlain. I don't know if you've rewatched the fight, but what a fight it was.
Yeah, they went back and forth, back and forth. I thought early on Chamberlain was brilliant, and Rafferty couldn't find a way through his southpaw excellence. Actually, we know Chamberlain as a strong, big hitting southpaw, but he looked very skilled, and Jack was struggling with him early on. And Jack really learnt something about himself in this fight, which is he's got. We know he's a tough, exciting fighter, but he showed a lot of grit and heart and worked his way into the fight a little bit more technically as well. I think he learnt a lot in that way in the fight. Um, I, I thought Chamberlain optically did slightly the better work, but no argument with two of the judges scoring it a draw, and they get to do it again. But I agree with you; it's in there as one of the fights of the year, along with Conor Benn and Chris Eubank.
These fights are so important, aren't they? These British title fights, like it wasn't at a Manchester Arena, it wasn't at an O2 Arena, it was at Altrincham Ice Rink, but it was still live on the zone. And these fights still have their place in British boxing.
Yeah, absolutely they do because they're the heartbeat of the sport. I think we've got another one this weekend with Pat McCormack, haven't we, in Houghton Le Spring? I think that's in a leisure centre.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure against I forget the name now. Is it Miguel Parra? I think it's
I
Miguel
believe
Parra
so.
this weekend. Yeah,
Next weekend, Gareth. Next weekend, that one.
it's next weekend, is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not this weekend. Are you sure?
Yeah, I think it's the 6th of September.
Oh, it's the sixth. I thought, oh, of course, because we've got Misfits this weekend with Luke Rockhold and Darren Till. That'll kick off. You'll love that. Are you hosting it?
I don't know, Gareth, potentially, but it'll be an interesting one.
Yeah, no, it will. So back to your point, yeah, leisure centres. I mean, Tyson Fury against John McDermott, I did at Brentwood Leisure Centre years ago when I think Shane or Hughie threw a bottle of water across the ring that night in a very close fight, and I thought young John McDermott nearly shaded it that night. Yeah, the leisure centres used to be a staple of British boxing. Cheshunt Leisure Centre, Dagenham. We've been to leisure centres all over the place, like you say, and this was no different. When you get 3.5, 4,000 into a venue, it fills it out, and it almost reminds me of what it's like in America sometimes with a local following for boxers. And I know we get to go to Madison Square Garden in New York and the Barclays Center and places in Las Vegas and big stadiums there, but they have the same. And small halls, well, the level between small hall shows and stadium shows is still definitely there and viable.
Yeah, certainly, Gareth, and yeah, roll on that rematch. Also, Saturday night, um, unmissable, I'd say, was your show on TalkSport with Adam Catterall. I stuck it on just as I was going out, and you got straight into it, mate, between with you and Adam about Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. Uh, I wouldn't call it a row, but it was good viewing, shall we say. Was you backing it, Gareth? Because I was looking at the comments on YouTube. Are you like defending Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis?
No, I'm defending Jake Paul. I'm defending Gervonta Davis first. If he wants to take the money to fight Jake Paul, no one can deny him doing it. Um, I think Adam's argument was, but Gervonta Davis shouldn't be taking fights like this. He should be fighting Shaka Stevenson and the like. Yes, he should, and he will. Um, but you can't blame a fighter when there's money on the table for going and doing another job. It's like, if Kugan Cassius pays you a certain amount and DAZN are paying you 100 times the amount, go and present face slap or whatever it is, or you know, face slap, face slap extra with people that have already got disfigured faces, and it seems in distaste, then that's a decision for you to make yourself. And if you did want to do it, we can't. We've got to condone you wanting to do it. We've got to not necessarily condone you, but we've got to allow you to go and do that. Even if it is seemingly in bad taste, because a week later you're back doing your normal job. And it might seem a little bit distasteful me saying that. What I'm trying to do is give an example of something that it doesn't look right for you to be doing. Um, and I feel like Gervonta Davis has earned the right to go out there and be in. It's a circus event. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it is a circus event. It's not um, you know, 5 stone in weight difference, 7 weight divisions, 8 inches in height. Um, the other way round was when Logan Paul fought Floyd Mayweather, and he was a little bit too big for Floyd, to be honest. If you recall, did you watch that?
Yes, yes.
And Logan had his little fling moment when he let all his hands go, didn't he? And he actually had a bit of success against Mayweather and managed to push him across the ring and hit him a couple of times. I don't feel that Jake Paul's going to lay a glove on Gervonta Davis. I don't feel like he's going to get anywhere near him. There's also this conspiratorial line that a lot of people feel that they won't end up in a ring together, and that it'll go up the kibosh. But I don't know. I just think it will happen. We'll all watch it. We'll rubberneck, and it'll probably do as many views as Saul Canelo Alvarez against Terence Crawford on Netflix.
That's mad. That is
No,
mad
but
statement,
is
Gareth.
that not?
But
But I know it
I
sounds mad.
agree. I agree with you
Yeah,
completely.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because we will watch. We will watch it. Um, well, I'm going to watch it because I'm fascinated to how Javante is going to climb his way around, or dance his way around being David against Goliath in this, because it is a huge discrepancy. Look, I don't love it as a contest, but again, Gervonta Davis is one of the most controversial figures in world boxing, and they've been calling each other out for 4 years. It looks like Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, which wasn't really in favour of, as you know, because I think I've told you that as well on air. Um, because I don't think it's safe enough to happen. Um, we luckily we're not having Anthony Joshua because of the broadcast deals, because Joshua's signed exclusively to DAZN. So we're just in an era where these kind of things are happening. Mr. Catterall was on his high horse, and I needed him to wind his neck in a little bit. That was all.
um, with this fight between Tank and Jake Paul, the word exhibition is put in kind of those brackets underneath. Do you believe we would have had that little word exhibition underneath a Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight?
Yeah, potentially. To get around the licensing of it, to get around the commissioning of it. Yeah, I agree. I think what they're doing there, they're semantically saying they're just going to have a little dance around in 26-ounce gloves, and they're going to hit each other with balloons. But yeah, I think what you're hinting at there, I agree with that. it's a semantic way of getting someone to license it, and calling it an exhibition means it's not a fight. And it won't be a fight either, because it's a very poor or bang average big un against a pound for pound little un. And the pound for pound little un will win this, I think.
At what point does the word novice stop being associated with Jake Paul? Because whatever you say about Jake Paul's opponents, his skill set, he has been fighting for over 5 years now. And typically, you wouldn't call someone who's been fighting for over 5 years a novice.
Yeah, well, he's a novice at certain things.
Mm.
You know, he has progressed. He does work really hard. He clearly trains hard. I'm not sure if he's in the gym every single day now. I think he's more in camps than he is in the gym. He's clearly in love with the sport. It's made a huge difference to his body and his mindset. You know, I've spoken to him at length about these things several times in interviews. And, you know, he's a fascinating character, Jake. You know, and he's probably not going to go down the WWE route that his brother's gone down, because he is in love. He's addicted to boxing, but I don't think we can call him a novice anymore. But I'm not sure how much better he's going to get. Whether he's ever going to be better than an area level fighter. You know, do we? How would you feel, rather than fighting Anthony Joshua at heavyweight, if he fought Johnny Fisher at heavyweight, for example?
Well, Gareth, you'd still make Johnny Fisher favourite, wouldn't you?
No, you'd make him a very big
You'd still make
favourite,
him a big
and you'd
favourite.
and you'd still. This is why it's difficult to think about him going in the ring with Anthony Joshua, and you'd probably have that feeling that Johnny Fisher's going to hurt him.
Mm.
You know, again, would Johnny Fisher just bash his way around the ring for several rounds and play the game with him? Maybe he would. Well, maybe he wouldn't. But
That's
you
a
know,
that's a
Johnny
fight I wouldn't mind seeing
Fisher,
a Romford dog track, Gareth.
exactly.
Jake Paul fighting at Romford dog track
I
against
think we've just
Johnny
made a
Fisher.
match there. We've just made a match.
um, Gareth, I know you also spoke to Frank Smith on Saturday night on your show on Talksport, and he kind of said about the next steps for Anthony Joshua. He had meetings in Accra, Ghana, about potentially bringing him over there in a massive 50, 60,000 event. What's your gut telling you now? Because it's looking unlikely that we'll see him in the ring in 2025, which will be the longest period in his professional career that we haven't seen him in the ring. So where is Anthony Joshua going to go in the early parts of 2026?
Well, extraordinarily, it's coming up a year since he was in the ring, isn't it? In about a month's time, or less than a month now. I think they were trying to sort out two or three fights with Anthony. I do think he'll fight in Africa. He's a massive draw there. You know, he's a star in Africa in sporting terms, and in what he's achieved in European boxing, but world boxing. It seems staggering that we aren't having more events in Africa. I think it's brilliant that we are starting to do that. Dan Aziz was in the studio as well on Saturday night, if you watched that bit of the show, and he's really excited about going to the country of his descendants to fight there, and he's friends with the son of Fela Kuti, a very famous dissident and musician who was a great character back in the 80s and 90s, who went against the regime there, the Babangida regime. I don't want to bore you with history here, and it's on Independence Day as well. So it's a bigger event over there that is happening in Nigeria, and I think that's really good news. Nigeria and Ghana being next to each other, big rivals, of course, they are in sporting and historical terms. I think they're going to get Joshua a fight in Africa. I think that's what will happen. I think that's why Tony Yoka was being teased out there for a little while. I still think they want the Fury fight, but I think they may end up waiting a long time, like you say, till next year for that to happen. And I do think they were serious about the Jake Paul fight. I think I've told you personally, or certainly on here, or it might have been with Coogan when he harangued me early in the morning to do an interview with him from Riyadh before I came home. Woke me up at about 5:45 in the morning to do an interview. Claimed he'd been working all night like he normally does. And I think I said to him then, I'd spoken to Frank and Eddie, and they were absolutely nailed on with Joshua that he could earn 80 million to fight Jake Paul. This was in person. I spoke to them in Riyadh, and they said they were going for it. Why shouldn't he? And again, you make the argument, or they make the argument, that why shouldn't Joshua? He's earned the right. I just don't think it's a safe contest for Jake Paul because I see him getting horribly hurt, and he's foolhardy enough to get in there with him. So I don't have an answer. I'm talking around the houses here. I don't really have an answer, but I tend to agree with you. It's too late for Joshua. He likes a long camp anyway. He's had surgery this year. It'll be very odd if we get Francis Ngannou and Deontay Wilder fighting each other. Maybe if that happens this year, in a year where we don't have a Fury fight, we don't have a Joshua fight, but we have Ngannou completing the tic-tac-toe of fighting three of the biggest names of the era in Wilder, Joshua, and Fury. It's kind of madness, and yet we're still waiting for Joshua Fury and Joshua Wilder, which probably will never happen. But why isn't that one happening, for example? Joshua and Wilder. Why aren't they talking about that? That would be a great fight as well.
What's your thoughts on Wilder and Ngannou?
Well, I think Ngannou beats Wilder, and I think Joshua beats Wilder. You know,
Ngannou can knock out Deontay Wilder,
I
yeah?
think your gran beats Wilder right now.
I don't know about that, mate. I don't know
Huh?
about that.
I've heard she's got a big, big, big punch on her.
Well, yeah, she's a lady you wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of, Mrs. Helen Pugh. So, yeah. Um,
I look forward to meeting her.
moving on. Yeah, Eddie Hearn done an interview with Coogan last week, and he said that,
That's the first one for a long time, isn't it?
no, he's on the channel. He's on the channel. He's always on the
I
channel.
remember the bi-weekly interviews when Coogan would sit in a car with Eddie and they'd sing tunes and they'd do dance anthems and they'd do a 90-minute interview on the way to Stoke-on-Trent. Or why doesn't Coogan do those anymore? Is he too rich and famous these days?
I think it's all private jets for Eddie, and
Oh, okay, fair
yeah,
enough.
I think like the other way round personally. But he did say that if AJ Fury doesn't happen next year, it will never happen, and kind of categorically said that. You inclined to agree with that statement?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the sands of time are moving on that one. The clock is ticking on it, and I do hope that the boys realise that, the guys realise that, and that they bump into each other at a basketball game as Mayweather and Pacquiao did years ago, and 5 years, maybe even longer after the event, they finally stepped in a ring together, and it was way past its sell-by date. I just hope that they don't decide that at the end of 2026 that yeah, we should do this, and it rolls into 2027 because by then the resonance that they both have with the public and with the boxing world will have gone. People sometimes say that fight's always there, but I do think it's got a shelf life. And I think that time is running out. We may never see them in a ring. I think you know my feelings on it, and I'm sure you're the same, that it bookends the era with those two fighting each other. And if we don't get it, it'll be a travesty.
Last night, Dillian White confirmed online that he will be carrying on following his first round defeat to Moses Talma last week. Yeah, just your thoughts on that, and who could Dillian fight next?
Derek, Chisora, War Chisora, that fight's always there. The optics of Dillian against Moses will stick in a lot of people's mind, but Dillian was overawed by a brilliant Moses Itauma on the night. Joseph Parker, um, Derek Chisora. Um, I'm trying to think others.
Can I stick Martin Bacoli in there? They've got a lot of history.
Wow, that's a very exciting fight. I'm glad. Yes, I do agree with Martin McCauley as well. But what I do think is it's good to hear Dillian not wanting to go out on that performance, and that there's still life in the old wolf yet. So yeah, it's good to see, and good to see that. What is it? 2 weeks after the event, he's emerged again and put himself out there. It's great to see he's still got ambition in him. He probably hasn't got long left, maybe one or two more fights, but we are in the takeover era now of Moses Itauma. I mean, to the point where Tyson Fury almost ruled himself out of ever stepping in a ring with Moses Itauma, and almost tacitly said, I wouldn't fight him because I think we all get beaten by him, all us old men, you know? I know he didn't say it directly, but he tacitly said it.
I know the general opinion is that Moses Alma should have at least one more fight before he would step in the ring with Alexander Usyk, and we know Alexander Usyk has kind of stated that he's only got one more fight left. But if he sits out, has a break, and Moses fights a big top 10 contender, the dates could align for him to fight Usyk in not his next fight, but the one after that. And is that a viable option for Moses and Alexander, Gareth?
Look, it's viable if Usyk wants to fight Itauma and Itauma's team want him to go in against Usyk. Itauma said it himself. He's got nothing to lose, but he has actually. He's got the invincibility bubble to lose. Right now, Usyk's probably the toughest fight out there for anyone in the world. He's flying high. He knows exactly what to do in the ring. He's a brilliant ring general. He's got all the skills that he needs. Moses has got youth on his side. It's a fight we'd all love to see, but it's a little bit too early for Moses, in my view. And I've just got a feeling we've got a tendency to not have these in the era. But if Usyk had gone on too long, Larry Holmes maybe went on too long, fought Mike Tyson. We see these guys go on a little too long, and then they end up fighting the force that's coming. I've got a feeling with Usyk, he's got so much money, so much legacy, he may not hang on till his 40th birthday, which is January next, January of 2027. I've got a feeling they won't fight each other.
Okay, Gareth, talking of forces coming, you've got a force with Talk Sport in about 60 seconds time. So I'm going to let you go. And yeah, I'm sure we'll catch up, if not this week, next week. Gareth, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure, Mr. Joe Pugh. Say hello to Helen for me.
Thanks, Gareth. Cheers.
Cheers.